This video is brought to you by Granger Motors, where you can save up to $1,300 on a factory extended warranty on your new Ford or Ram, Jeep, Chrysler vehicle.
Hey guys, here I have two brand new and fully refreshed 2025 Ford Explorers. I have basically a base model and I have a performance model which is top of the line. So in this video I wanted to show you both of these, and this is kind of like what you get or don't get when you pick a base one versus a fully optioned one. But it's a bit of a surprise because they're very, very similar. And we'll go over all of this, all the trim levels, all the pricing, all the competition. And this new Explorer has been redesigned. It's got a fresh face, a new interior, new technology, and I'm here in Michigan at the Ford launch event to bring you all the latest news. So now let's start over here. This silver one is a base model Ford calls the Active. And so there's no more XLT or some of the other trim levels you may have been used to. It's going to be Active. Then above the Active is going to be an ST line, which is very similar to this, except it has a little bit more of a sporty appearance, very similar to that ST. And then there's going to be the Platinum, which is a luxurious model, and the ST. The ST is top of the line. It's the highest performance model, and it's also very, very sporty. So let's take a look at this one first. I wish they had a kind of a bare bones one. This one has a few options, and we'll go over it. Never mind this, the kayaks. It's just, you know, Ford put it up here, and it just basically to demonstrate the ability of these roof rails. After all, this is still a Ford Explorer. Ford Explorer first generation came out in 1991. So basically about 33 years ago, and I'll show you some Easter eggs inside these Explorers to kind of celebrate the long history. This is the 6.5 generation. So the 6th generation basically came out in 2020, and this is an update to that generation of the Explorer. So they didn't change the size of this vehicle for 2025. It still rides on a 119-inch wheelbase, which is actually almost the largest one in the segment. And of course, the segment includes many different vehicles like Toyota Highlander and Grand Highlander. We have Honda Pilot. We have Nissan Pathfinder. We have Kia Telluride. We have Jeep Grand Cherokee and Grand Cherokee 3-row. So it's a highly competitive segment, but Ford is near the top. They sold 105,000 Explorers this year for the first 6 months. So they sell over 200,000 of these things, almost 250,000 of them every single year. So it's very important that this latest generation of the Explorer gets everything right and offers you all the options you're looking for. Hey guys, this video is brought to you by our friends at Granger Warranty. They are the #1 seller of Ford factory warranty in North America, and they wanted me to let you know about some unknown benefits of factory-backed warranties. The first unknown benefit is a Ford or Mopar factory warranty from Granger Motors means that both manufacturers will stand behind their warranties. A warranty from a third party could be voided if they go out of business. The second unknown benefit is these factory warranties come with a 24-hour roadside assistance. If you break down, your vehicle gets towed to the nearest dealership. The third benefit is Ford and Mopar warranties cover a rental car for up to 10 days while the dealership fixes your vehicle. And lastly, you can cancel your warranty within 30 days for a full refund, or at any time after 30 days, you can also get a prorated refund based on years owned and miles driven. So the next time you buy a Ford, Ram, Jeep, Dodge, or Chrysler vehicle, contact Granger Motors for an extended factory warranty where they save customers an average of $1,300 off the list price. And remember, peace of mind doesn't cost much at Granger Motors. So let's start over here with the look of it. So they changed the face, the grills. The grill is a little bit larger, and this Active one has this chrome accent. And they have new headlamps, new kind of lower fascia as well. And of course they have many different sensors, including many of these, not the active one, but the rest of the lineup also will have Blue Cruise hands-free driving. So you have several different sensors hidden throughout these vehicles. For example, this one has a front camera right there. Of course it has, the radar down below, and cameras also in the windshield. So these ones are technology laden. Now, if you can go out around on the passenger side, let's take a look inside this active one. The starting price is $39,755 before destination, and with destination, which is about $1,600, this will be over $41K to start. So that's the starting price. It's highly competitive because if you look at the Highlander, the Pilot, several other vehicles, they're almost identically priced. There are a couple of other vehicles that are lower priced. For example, the Kia Telluride, or even the Chevrolet Traverse, which is priced a little bit below this. So you have to consider, of course, that. But look at this. For a base model, this is actually, I would say, nice looking. So they redesigned the entire dashboard. This reminds me of kind of like a sound bar in your living room, like a speaker. They have nice materials, some stitching here, large 13-inch display. I can power this up so you can kind of see some of the details here. And I was speaking with the chief interior designer for the new Explorer, and he told me that this space was inspired by the living room. So really, if you think about your living room space, you have a large screen and then you have really comfortable seats. And they didn't change kind of the form of the seat, but they kind of changed some of the stitching and the way they look just a little bit. And I think this is done quite nicely. They also have your kind of device space right here where you can put your devices. This one does not have a wireless charger, but I'll show you the more optioned one that has it. Cameras. This one only has the reverse camera. So those are some of the things that you're missing when you're getting a little bit more of a base vehicle. But I think, it has heated steering wheel, heated seats, automatic functions for the seats, both front passenger and driver. So that's already a huge kind of added benefit. And this has an optional package. So this is not the base model. Actually, because it has a panoramic sunroof, which costs around $1,700, it has four-wheel drive. The base one has two-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive system costs about $2,000. So after you add that, the four-wheel drive system, the panoramic sunroof, the convenience or comfort package, the price starts to go up and up. And so this one is pushing close to $50,000. So this is not the super base one, but this is the most basic one they did have. I told you about some history. I don't know if you could see here. There's some Easter eggs, and maybe I can show you that in another space. They have all 5 generations of previous Explorers, and there's an Easter egg within an Easter egg. The first gen is actually the Jurassic Park Ford Explorer from the movie. So they put Easter eggs inside Easter eggs. So I think that's pretty fun and pretty cool for this particular one. All digital clusters. I have adaptive cruise control system here, but not Blue Cruise. So the active trim level, the base trim level, does not offer Blue Cruise. Now let me get in the back seat, show you some space. So this one also has captain chairs in the center. In the second row. You could also get a bench if you so chose. The front seat is almost all the way back. I'm 6'3", I'm pretty big dude. My head touches slightly on this panoramic roof because it's a little bit lower. But let me try the third row, because that's what the Explorer is really about. It's more about families as well. So the seat is a little bit lowish. Of course, this is not a full-size Expedition, or it's not a truck-based SUV, but if I go like this and this seat slides a little bit backwards, I still have a little bit of room, but my knees are pretty high. I would say I could spend, a short drive back here, but somebody of a slightly smaller stature, or, some kids would be really great here. There's 2 seat belts. Bam. So, and I have cup holders. Let me show you. I have cup holders. This tie down is for when the seats are folded down, and a couple of cubbies. And over here, let me show you, I have 2 USB-Cs. So there's plenty kind of cubbies and plenty things to do. Now let me show you here as well, climate control for the second row Explorer. So I think it's pretty well done. 12 volt, and I can control my temperature and direction. There are vents in the ceiling. So there's vents up above and also in the floor. So you're not getting some kind of middle vents like somewhere here in the console, but you're getting really good air from the ceiling and also in the floor. So you can see some of these vents right here. Let me show you the cargo space. Now in the back here, you have to know where the button is unless you have a key, or you can also pop it there. But underneath this R, there's a tiny little arrow. It's almost impossible to see, but if you hit underneath the R, that's where the button is. So it's not in the center. Now this is not the class-leading cargo space. The roof is a little bit more sloping in this Explorer. I mean, that's what it was for 6th generation as well. And these are manually folding. So you can go like this, but only basically one motion, just pull, and it kind of spring loads itself and kind of folds down. And as I was saying, tie downs here. So if you're putting some sort of cargo here, you don't want it to roll around. You do have some tie downs, you have some light, you have some hooks, you have 12 volts. So pretty usable, pretty nice. You can also put a net here. And then also there's a little cubby here and a spare tire, which is not really a full-size tire, but it's a spare tire that will get you to your next destination, hopefully, and will get you to safety if something happened. Now this is around, behind the third row is around 17 cubic feet of actual cargo volume. So like I said, it's not class leading, but I think it's pretty good enough for many different jobs. They changed the rear tail lamps, so you can see kind of this midsection is new, and some LEDs that stretch into the hatch here. This is how I know it's 4x4. Like I said, it's $2,000, which is, I think, pretty affordable for a four-wheel drive system. If this was a pickup truck, you could spend anywhere between $3,500 or $5,000 to step up to a four-wheel drive. So having this all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive system pretty affordably is nice. All of them come with a hitch. So 2-inch receiver, you have your 4-pin connector for lighter trailers, you have a 7-pin connector for heavier trailers, and the tow rating is 5,000 pounds. The previous one, 2024, had up to 5,600 pounds, so they decreased the towing just a little bit, and so that's a little bit odd. And also another thing that's a little bit odd is that there's no built-in trailer brake controller. Of course, there's wiring, so if you wanted to add a trailer brake controller, you could get an aftermarket one added to the vehicle, and you could probably mount it somewhere underneath this dash. Here we have a couple of other little Easter eggs. So we have Detroit on one side, and on the passenger side there's Chicago. This is built in Chicago. We can show you that right now. So made in the USA. That's pretty special. Hello, Chicago. Now let's look. So like I said, even if it didn't have the panoramic sunroof, and if it didn't have some of the comfort package, and if this wasn't four-wheel drive, you could bring that price down to about 41-ish. By the way, this also has the optional 20-inch wheel. It starts with an 18-inch wheel. So this is slightly uprated here with a 20-inch wheel. All right, so now let's look at this ST. So the Ford Explorer ST, of course, came out as a 6th generation vehicle in 2020. So about 5 years ago. And we're from Colorado, Denver area, and I see a lot of ST Explorers in Colorado. It must be that we need more power. Speaking of power, let me pop the hood, because that's one gem of this one. It's a double pull on the handle. This is a 3-liter. Let's see. Double pull, and there's a stick. Bam. Let me pop the other hood as well while you're looking at that engine. So just to get your attention over here for a second, this is a 4-cylinder. That's the base engine. 2.3 liters, 300 horsepower, and around 315 pound-feet of torque, and a 10-speed automatic. So even though they had a 2.3 liter 4-banger turbo before, the EcoBoost, this engine has been a bit tweaked, and efficiency has been also tweaked. Normally what happens as the time moves on, the regulations get tougher and tougher and tougher for emissions and efficiency, but they were able to still get 29 mpg on the highway, and it's not a hybrid. By the way, if you're wondering about the hybrid that they unveiled, 5 years ago, it's now only available for fleets. So police vehicles, some other fleet vehicles will have hybrids, but private consumers like us will not. That's a really odd choice as well. So we'll have to wait and see about how that turns out, because a lot of other manufacturers are switching over to hybrids. Maybe Ford will have another solution coming up quite soon. But if you want speed and performance, I mean, this is a gem. Of course, I'm not driving this in this video, but I've driven the previous iteration of this, and I can tell you this 3-liter twin-turbo V6 is super powerful. This engine is also available in the Platinum, so you can get it either in this performance one or a little bit more luxury trim as well. 400 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. A very similar engine also exists in the Ranger Raptor, also exists in the Bronco Raptor, and some other vehicles as well. So this engine has been around, and with all-wheel drive and 10-speed automatic, this thing scoots, and it's the same. So if you're used to a powerful Explorer before, you will be pleased with this. Now let's take a look at the interior, and I'll tell you about pricing. I was also talking with one of the members of the engineering team on this new Explorer, and Tim Smith. Tim also was on the team that launched the new Mustang and this ST 5 years ago. So there's a lot of performance sort of DNA in this machine, even though it's a family vehicle. Let me start this up. It's still pretty quiet, but you can see the interior is trimmed a little bit differently. The same screens, the same kind of a sound bar, and a kind of a slightly different color palette, red stitching I love. I have a wireless charger here now. So this is where my devices go, here and here. And I think it's really simple. I mean, some manufacturers hide them here, inside, under there, but I think having them easily at hand, and you can have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto right there. I have Blue Cruise capability here. I have little camera that's monitoring my eyes because I do have to be aware and able to get control of the vehicle at any time. It's a driver assistance technology on pre-mapped highways. Blue Cruise 1.2 is available, which is the latest generation of that system. So it has assisted lane change, and it also has lane recentering. So you can kind of like on a highway, if there's a big truck next to you, you have a little bit more space in your lane to move around that vehicle. Of course, rotary shifter, drive modes. I think Ford has always had many different drive modes, and you could see it here: normal, slippery, trail, sport, and towing. Also 5,000 pounds of towing. So this is the maximum rating for the new Explorer. If you do want to tow a heavier trailer, I guess you can step up to a bigger vehicle like the Ford Expedition. And if you look at some of the others, like the Grand Highlander, the Jeeps, if you look at the Kia, Honda, the towing capability is about the same. So it's kind of, that's what they all decided to do, and that's what they're doing. This one does not have a panoramic sunroof, so I may have a tiny bit more space. I'll get in the back in just 1 second. By the way, if you're buying an ST, you can also as part of it, there's a complimentary 1-day performance driving school, basically ST experience. There's one in Utah and another one in South Carolina, so it depends on which coast you live. You can go to one of those locations and bring a friend even. So they've done that for the Raptors, for the previous Focus STs and RSs, and they're doing the same here for the Explorer ST performance model. So that school is available. So that's a pretty neat thing. So if you want to see what this is capable of, and you don't want to take your Explorer on a track or some sort of performance environment, you could do that with Ford. Let me get in the back seat here. Let me move this back just a smidge. Oh yeah, my head never hits. My head is not hitting. So without the panoramic roof, this is actually quite a bit better. And look at this. I also have shade right there in the back seat. So it's really great for sun, or if you have a young child in here and you kind of want to shield them a little bit or get some privacy as you're sitting in the back here as well. That's really cool. I also have rear heated seats. So I didn't have that in the other one. Now I do. So those are some of the small differences. The seat feels, I love this material. So there's a little bit of a grippy one in combination with the stitching. So I love the way these seats feel. It's pretty nice. I'm not going to get in the third row. I just did that. But I do want to show you something in the back. So if we step outside. So Ford did that 5 years ago, but they have these quad pipes. But the exhaust actually comes out down below. So they look pretty nice. And actually, doing it this way, this always stays nice and clean, because sometimes exhaust pipes gets, carbon buildup and they start looking black or dark. So this one dumps down below, but still has this kind of performance look. So this is what Ford's been doing, and that's kind of a nice little trick that I haven't seen many other manufacturers do. So pricing, this one starts at around $55,500 before destination. This one is about $57,000 before destination. So we had in the beginning like $41,000, Now we're getting up to like 57, 58,000. If you add the panoramic sunroof and some other options to this, you could hit 60 grand, maybe a little bit more. And of course, Blue Cruise 1.2, there's a couple of ways to get it. You can get a monthly subscription or an annual one, depending on your usage or what you want to do, or you can opt out of it. I mean, your car is available of that feature, but you don't have to pay for Blue Cruise if you don't want it. By the way, these are 21-inch wheels, painted calipers, and kind of blacked out trim. So this is the whole range. I did not show you the Platinum, but the Platinum has slightly different interior combinations and color choices, but it largely has the equipment that this ST offers. But this ST is going to be the priciest one, and I think maybe my choice. I mean, if I was going to do and buy an Explorer, I think it may have to be an ST. Like I said, in Colorado, most Explorers I see are this performance model. So let me know what you think. Is it too pricey? Are they doing too much with the base one? Are you appreciating that the base one is also pretty nice? And just let me know. We don't have any news about an off-road model. So Ford did tease something off-roady like a Timberline or maybe a Tremor version of the Explorer, but it's not here yet, and they're not announcing anything at this time. But these ones are already reaching dealerships right now across the country. Maybe they're not there quite yet, but they're arriving. I checked with our local dealer in Colorado, and they have several on the way already, including STs and some of the other models. So thank you for joining me on this one. Once again, check out oldtfl.com for all the news in one place, and also tflstuff.com, because our buddy Gavin has many different t-shirt designs and all kinds of apparel there that you could purchase if you like what we're doing. So I appreciate it. We'll see you next time.